Hi everybody, it's Mike from The Gracious Guest, and I'm here today to talk to you about Advent and Star Wars. That might not seem like a pair of things that belong together, but I just want to share with you a couple insights here as we are nearing Christmas, as we keep journeying through the Advent season, the time of preparing for our Lord's coming at Christmas, and a time that often gets shortchanged by our typical experience of the holiday season that's just go, 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 get. You know, we all have these things we have to get lined up for Christmas. We have plans we have to make. It's a really busy time of year, and it seems like they start putting all the Christmas stuff out in the stores a couple weeks earlier each year, to the point where by the time you get to Thanksgiving, you can feel exhausted and almost be ready to have Christmas over with. When in fact, the tradition of the Christmas season is that it begins at the end of Advent on Christmas, and it continues, and that it goes all the way up to the celebration of the baptism of Jesus, which is in early January. So Christmas is supposed to begin. You know, you think of the old song, The 12 Days of Christmas. There's the traditional octave of Christmas, 8 days. You know, so there's a couple different ways to express this throughout Christian tradition. But the sad reality is, as I said, that a lot of times we're all tuckered out, basically, by the time we get within like a week of Christmas. And this reminds me a little bit of myself and my experience of waiting and anticipating effectively for Star Wars to come out. So we are, at the time of this recording, just a few days away from the release of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, and myself, as a huge fan, as you can see behind me, I am really excited for this movie, okay? I, always find myself tempted to look up sort of... I don't try to deliberately look up spoilers, but I tend to try to look up information about the movies, little tidbits here, little trailers there, behind-the-scenes things, and it's interesting and I enjoy it, but I have in the past ruined, in a way, my experience of some of these new movies because I knew too much going in. I kind of shut off the ability, I sort of messed up, I should say, the ability for me to be able to experience this event in all of the sort of joy that it ideally should have brought to me. And I still had a lot of fun and everything. But this is a problem that I've run into since I was a kid. I would sneak under the Christmas tree sometimes. My dad had set up this really cool platform on these old like sawhorse things with a big piece of plywood and then like a drape type thing over it, and then the tree skirt, and the tree went up like super high then. And then they would hide Christmas presents under there. And I don't even know if they know this, so if either of you are watching this, I'm sorry. But when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I crawled under there, I snuck down there, and I found one of my presents, and I just ripped it a little bit at the corner so I could see what was in it. I found out, I was excited, but then I ruined it. I ruined it because I knew what I was getting. So I was also that kid, sometimes I'd be reading a book, and I'd flip to the very last page. I just couldn't help myself. I don't know why, just to see what happens at the end. I still want to do that sometimes. And it's just kind of foolish because I don't know what it really comes from, but it's tied to at least some impatience. It's this desire, a desire that is leading me to make some choices that are, kind of taking the wind out of my own sails in a sense. And then when it comes to Star Wars, like I said, finding spoilers, finding out things that you shouldn't have known ahead of time. Here's a spoiler alert. You probably have seen The Force Awakens from 2015. If you're watching this, I don't know why you wouldn't have seen it already. So, spoiler alert, last chance to leave. Kylo Ren is Ben Solo. He's Han and Leia's son, and he kills Han Solo at the end of the movie. It's a huge, huge, sad, horrible thing, but I knew it was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't suspect it. I knew because I was on Reddit or somewhere else 2 days before the movie came out in 2015, and I saw a screenshot of it. So it just wrecked it for me in a way. So when The Last Jedi came out 2 years later, I tried a lot harder in that November and December because it was Advent. These movies are coming out in Advent now. And I don't know. I find a special spiritual sort of impulse to try and do a better job of allowing myself to experience that period of anticipation. I think anticipation is really good for us. It teaches us patience, because it makes us make choices about whether we're going to be patient or not. It gives us the opportunity to choose to be patient or not. It also, I think, helps to remind us, especially Advent, that we are not ultimately self-sufficient. You know, when you're waiting for something, you're anticipating, in this case, the arrival of the Messiah. It's this constant reminder of just how much you need him, just how much you really need this fulfillment that is not something you can take and pull to yourself, but it's something that you have to be drawn into on its own time, like a flower blooming when the time is right. It can't be forced to open. Presents, gifts that others give to us, gifts that those people who are giving us out of their own love and generosity, they deserve to have the experience of our excitement and anticipation and seeing the look on our face when we open the gift. And we ruin that. We take that away from the giver when we sort of steal steal away that hope and that anticipation, that excitement through an act of impatience and trying to jump the gun. So, just a couple thoughts on both somehow Star Wars, of course, and Advent as we are getting closer to the end of the Advent season. So, I'm Mike from thegraciousguest.org, wishing you a very, very happy and anticipation and hope-filled Advent and a very, very merry and blessed Christmas and New Year. Go check out my website, thegraciousguest.org, for more faith and culture and movie and musings and all this kind of stuff. The intersection of the good, the true, and the beautiful with our day-to-day lives. That's what I'm all about over thegraciousguest.org. And until next time, don't forget to wonder. God bless you all.